We talked about climate clubs before, but we can bring it up again in the context of policies to make or facilitate climate change action or reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So we already talked about policies needing to have some incentives or to prevent countries from not participating or being free riders of this public good, like clean air. So policies must address lack of incentives by countries to reduce GHGs, since Paris Agreement has really no policing as such. So climate clubs can coordinate emissions reduction with broader tariffs. We talked about the various clubs like G20 and regional greenhouse gas clubs and so on, which can impose tariffs based on the emission of the entities that want to trade with them. So there is no penalty for not joining, but if you want to benefit from the club, then you have to adhere to some standards. Okay, so clubs are heavily favored by some economists, I think like Bill Nordhaus. The policies also need to address the externality problem of climate mitigation effort. So we will see what climate change as an externality means. I think we already talked a little bit about this as, for example, as a person you may buy gasoline or a car and drive to work, but then it affects the third party by increasing emissions from your car, from your travel, and increase the chance of accidents and so on. Okay. This is an illustration of a climate club in the context of clean air action and the indicators that this paper here argues for. So here are the example of climate club. Club membership and size. This is a recommendation. Or does the club have a capacity to make a contribution? So capability and problem solving capacity, legitimacy, and common objective. So credibility, legitimacy are always an issue for any interactions, dialogues, communications, etc. Anyways, public goods. What is the nature of the governance contribution? Active emissions reduction, support of policy planning, advancing political dialogues, and cooperation enhancement. It's not just coordination, but actually cooperation. So not just agreeing on some protocols, but actually cooperating. So additional benefits or club goods. Okay, why do members participate in the club? There are financial incentives like reduced tariffs across the border when you deal with a club member, knowledge incentives and methodologies, so you can share innovations and processes of manufacturing, etc. Reputational benefits, so being a club member tends to have a reputation because it is seen as a do-gooder. Trust building, which is what is needed for cooperation anyways, and co-benefits. So clean air obviously has co-benefits for the club members. Okay, and what do we mean by climate change as an externality? Externality is where consumption or production choice of a particular party affects the utility of a third party without their permission. So when you drive, you are affecting the air they breathe without seeking their permission. Right? Very simple. This effect can be either positive or negative. Climate change, so if you did something to reduce your driving, you are probably reducing your emission and benefiting other people as well, the third party as well. Climate change is a clear case of a negative externality, as the economic transactions that contribute to the enhanced greenhouse effect adversely impact the utility of future generations through a degraded environment. So as we said before, pretty much everything we do, travel, drive, eat, anything else, I cannot think of anything we do that doesn't degrade the environment. That's our lifestyle, using a cell phone and so on. So The issue is global in presence, so it's not like I emit here and the pollution stays around me in my bubble. Hence, an individual government cannot do anything substantial by intervening. So just one city restricting driving in California, for example, they want to reduce overall emissions with fuel efficiency standards and also favor housing complexes which are near public transportation. So if there are free riders, then that's part of the game because they are just not doing what they are supposed to do. The causality and implications are uncertain and unquantifiable. This is something we already discussed. So this is because the pollutants are long living, the impacts are global, benefits are over time, etc. The uncertainty and the harmful effects are also over a long time depending on the residence time of the pollution, like CO2. The uncertainty surrounding climate change creates further uncertainty about the economic change it will generate and potential benefits of the policy intervention. So we talked about the model projections, which without getting into detail, when you look at the next 10 years or 15 years, the uncertainties in the model physics to project the temperature change, precipitation change, sea level rise, especially at local levels, have certain uncertainties. But when you go beyond to the longer term, beyond 2050 and 2080, the scenarios that are assumed to produce these RCP 2.5, 2.6, RCP 8.5, and so on, the scenarios themselves have a lot of uncertainty in terms of assuming the energy mixes, the technology evolution and innovation, carbon capture and sequestration, population growth, and so on. Okay, so there are uncertainties that are not easily quantifiable either from the Earth system model perspective sometimes or in terms of the economic impact they will generate, or the potential benefits of a policy intervention that is put into place now. So that goes into estimating the discounted value of the future benefit in current dollars. Okay, that's always a big uncertainty. The consequences of climate change are extremely long-term and are difficult to foresee. So this I have also mentioned in the context of why most people have an easier time to saving for their own future or for their children and the grandchildren and for generations in terms of material comfort, a house, dollars, whatever, but they will not invest right now by paying taxes for improving the environment, which has some co-benefits for them now, but as a public good, they don't know what happens in the future when their children and grandchildren will be living in that same environment. Okay, so this is what makes climate change an externality, and we will look at some examples, specific examples, and then see what are the measures that can be taken to deal with this climate change externality. What are the approaches that are feasible, again, from the economic point of view.